Visual slow-motion shot of a glamorous Hollywood party. Glittering lights, paparazzi flashes, a crowded room. The camera zooms in on a young man laughing, holding a drink. Narrator, Vo. No one saw this coming. A love story that was supposed to be private suddenly splashed across every headline. Kim Kardashian, the queen of Hollywood, had just entered a new relationship. But there was a catch. The man she was falling for used to date her younger sister. Visual close-up of Kim Kardashian smiling at a red carpet event. Cut to a text message notification. We need to talk. Narrator, Vo. What would you do if the person you trusted had a history with someone closest to you? Would you confront it or pretend it didn't exist? For Kim, this wasn't just gossip. It was personal. And what happened next changed everything. Visual, dramatic pause. Cut to black with heartbeat sound effect. Introduction. Narrator, Vo. This story isn't just about celebrity romance. It's about love, trust, family loyalty, and the invisible lines that sometimes get crossed. Kim Kardashian is no stranger to the spotlight, but even for someone who lives in front of cameras, nothing prepared her for this moment. A relationship that started with excitement quickly became tangled in secrecy, awkward tension, and raw emotion. Visual montage of Kim with her family, smiling, laughing. Intercut with paparazzi flashes and social media notifications blowing up. Narrator, Vo. And what makes this story irresistible to everyone watching? The hidden questions, the whispered rumors, the private lives colliding with public perception. Fans didn't just want to know who this man was, they wanted to understand the human story beneath the headlines. Background and setup. Visual, Malibu mansion, morning light filtering through floor-to-ceiling windows. Kim is sitting at her kitchen island, coffee in hand, scrolling through her phone. Narrator, Vo. Kim Kardashian, now 42, has had her share of relationships under public scrutiny. But despite fame, wealth, and endless paparazzi, her personal life has always been a delicate balance between passion and caution. She's someone who cherishes trust, yet her heart has often led her into complicated territory. Visual cut to younger sister, let's say Khloe Kardashian at a workout session, phone in hand laughing. Narrator, Vo. And then there's her younger sister, Khloe, who's been through her own romantic turbulence. Family gatherings often included playful teasing, but also silent understanding, unspoken boundaries that kept the sisters' trust intact. Until now. Visual. A mysterious man appears in a flashback montage, charming, confident, wearing designer clothes at a Hollywood gala. His name is introduced. Let's call him Ethan Rivers. Narrator, Vo. Enter Ethan Rivers, a rising star in the fashion and entertainment industry. Charismatic, intelligent, undeniably attractive, the kind of man who turns heads wherever he goes. But he carried a history, a past connection to someone Kim never expected. Visual flashback to a cozy Los Angeles cafe 2 years earlier. Ethan laughing with Khloe, sharing coffee, touching hands in a subtle, intimate way. Narrator, Vo. 2 years earlier, Ethan had been Khloe's boyfriend. Not public at first, but close enough that family members noticed. The shared looks, the inside jokes, the late-night texts. A chapter that seemed closed, until fate intervened. Visual back to present. Kim and Ethan meet at a high-profile Hollywood event. Camera flashes everywhere. Their eyes meet across the room. Narrator, Vo. And then, by sheer coincidence, or perhaps something more, Kim and Ethan met again. Sparks flew, conversations lingered, laughter was shared. For Kim, it was the kind of connection she hadn't felt in years. But little did she know, the past was lurking, waiting to surface. Visual close-up on Ethan's phone screen, a text from Khloe reading, "Are you serious? You're dating Kim." Narrator, Vo. No one saw it coming. The text arrived like a warning shot. An invisible line had been crossed. And suddenly, a glamorous romance became a tangled web of family, love, and loyalty. Visual, nighttime in Los Angeles. Kim sits in her sleek, modern living room, city lights twinkling through the windows. Her phone buzzes again, another message from Chloe. Narrator, Vo. The moment Kim saw that text, her stomach dropped. It wasn't just gossip, this was personal. Chloe's words weren't angry, but they were pointed, laced with disbelief. Are you serious? You're dating Kim? A question that carried years of unspoken rules, trust, and shared history. Visual flashback montage of Kim and Chloe growing up together, laughing, whispering secrets, supporting each other through heartbreaks. Intercut with Ethan and Chloe in happier times. Narrator, Vo. Family loyalty runs deep in the Kardashian household. Sisters share everything, from heartbreaks to victories, from laughter to tears. But some boundaries, some past relationships are not meant to overlap. And now, Kim found herself walking directly into that gray area. Visual, Kim pacing the floor, conflicted. Ethan calls. The camera zooms in on her hand hovering over the phone, hesitation written on her face. Narrator, Vo. She knew Ethan. He was charming, attentive, someone who made her laugh in ways she hadn't in years. But now, every memory Chloe might have had with him flickered in her mind. Every date, every joke, every intimate moment her sister had shared with him. It all suddenly mattered. Visual, switched to Chloe at her apartment, pacing. She dials Ethan's number, anger and confusion mixing on her face. Narrator, Vo. And for Chloe, the emotions were immediate and raw. Betrayal wasn't just a word. It was a feeling. Watching someone you once loved smile across the room at your sister? That was a twist no one could prepare for. And now, both sisters were caught in an invisible storm. Visual, Ethan, unaware of the growing tension, walking into a chic restaurant where Kim waits. Their eyes meet, smiles are exchanged. Narrator, Vo. But in the world of Hollywood, timing is everything. And what happened next? No one saw it coming. Ethan had no intention of rekindling old flames with Chloe. He was drawn to Kim for reasons he couldn't explain. Yet, the past has a way of crashing into the present, uninvited, relentless, and unforgettable. Visual montage of social media. Fans speculating, paparazzi photos, emojis, and headlines flashing across screens. Visual Kim, alone in her bedroom, reflecting. Soft music plays. Close-up on her eyes, full of doubt. Narrator, Vo. Kim was forced to confront her own feelings. Desire versus loyalty, happiness versus guilt. Could she continue seeing Ethan knowing the history? Could she protect her sister's trust without sabotaging her own heart? Every choice carried consequences, and the tension, both internal and external, was unbearable. Visual, Chloe confronting Ethan at a neutral location, quiet cafe. Coffee steams between them. Her tone is controlled but icy. Chloe, Theo, dramatized. Why him? Why Kim? Did you even think about how this would affect me? Ethan looks down, conflicted, rubbing his temple. Ethan, Theo, dramatized. Chloe, I never wanted this to happen. I didn't plan to fall for Kim. I care about you, I always have, but what I feel now, it's different. Visual, Kim watching from a distance, unseen, heart pounding. The camera slowly zooms in on her eyes. Narrator, Vo. And in that moment, the emotional stakes couldn't have been higher. Three people, bound by love, family, and history, standing at a crossroads where every decision would leave a permanent mark. And just when it seemed like the tension couldn't climb any higher, the major twist arrived. Visual, a lavish Hollywood gala, chandeliers glittering, celebrities mingle, cameras flash, champagne flows. Kim is in a designer gown, laughing, radiant, but tension shadows her face. Narrator, Vo. Just when it seemed Kim and Ethan's connection could move forward, fate intervened in the most public of ways. A photograph emerged, snapped by a paparazzo who had been quietly observing Ethan for weeks. The image wasn't just of Ethan and Kim. It was an old photo of Ethan and Chloe side by side, displayed on a giant social media feed for millions to see. Visual close-up of Kim's phone as notifications explode, texts from Khloe, news alerts, Twitter trending hashtags. Narrator, Vo. Kim's heart sank. This wasn't just a private history anymore. It was a public revelation. Fans went into a frenzy, debating loyalty, boundaries, and the appropriateness of the relationship. And suddenly, what had been a promising romance was overshadowed by scandal. Visual, Khloe watching the same photo online, face pale, a mixture of hurt and anger flooding her expression. Narrator, Vo. For Khloe, the picture was a confirmation of her worst fears. Even if Ethan hadn't intended to hurt her, the optics were undeniable. The world was watching, judging, and every sisterly instinct screamed betrayal. The emotional stakes had shifted from private discomfort to public scrutiny. Visual, Kim confronting Ethan in a quiet penthouse suite, the city lights twinkling behind them. Kim Vio dramatized. Ethan, I don't know if we can do this. It's not just about us anymore. It's Khloe, it's family, it's everything. Ethan steps closer, voice soft but urgent. Ethan Vio dramatized. I never wanted it to be this way, Kim. I never imagined this would hurt anyone. But my feelings for you, they're real. I can't just ignore them. Visual, close up on Kim's eyes, filled with tears. She looks torn between desire and loyalty, love and guilt. Narrator, Vo. And in that moment, the truth became undeniable. Love doesn't exist in isolation. Every choice ripples through the lives of those we care about most. Kim had to confront not only Ethan's past but the invisible consequences of her own heart. Visual, montage of social media, fan reactions, gossip blogs, interviews. Emojis and hashtags scroll rapidly. The world was watching their every move. Narrator, Vo. The revelation sent shockwaves far beyond their immediate circle. Fans debated endlessly. Should Kim forgive the past? Should Khloe let go of old grievances? Could Ethan's intentions absolve him of his history? And through it all, the family's private tension became a global spectacle. Emotional peak. Visual, Kim and Khloe sit together in Khloe's living room, late at night. The room is dimly lit, silence heavy. Kim reaches for her sister's hand. Kim Vio dramatized. Khloe, I never wanted to hurt you. I care about you more than anything. But I also can't ignore my own feelings. Visual, Khloe looks away, tears streaming, voice trembling. Khloe Vio dramatized. It's not about not trusting you, Kim. It's about him. He was mine. And now you're his too. It's complicated. Narrator, Vo. In that room, time seemed to stand still. Two sisters, bonded by blood and history, facing a situation no guidebook could prepare them for. The love triangle wasn't just about romance. It was about trust, boundaries, and the fragility of human emotion. Visual flashback montage of happier moments between Kim and Khloe, juxtaposed with tense, quiet moments of doubt and uncertainty. Narrator, Vo. The emotional tension reached a breaking point. Kim's fear of losing her sister's trust collided with her desire for Ethan. Khloe's anger and heartbreak mingled with the hope that her sister could understand her pain. And Ethan, caught between two powerful women, each with claims on his heart and loyalty, felt the crushing weight of his own choices. Visual, close-up of Ethan's face as he looks down, conflicted, guilt and longing battling for dominance. Silence dominates the scene. Narrator, Vo. No one could predict the outcome. The emotional storm had reached its zenith. Every decision made here would echo for years, both privately and publicly. And yet, in the midst of chaos, the story wasn't over. The climax, the true test of love, family, and forgiveness, was about to unfold. Visual. Kim's private helicopter lands on a rooftop in downtown Los Angeles at sunset. Golden light glints off the city's skyline. Ethan waits, nervously pacing. Narrator, Vo. The moment of truth had arrived. No texts, no social media, No paparazzi. Just three people, hearts exposed, facing the choices that would define them. Visual. Kim steps out, her heels clicking against the rooftop floor. She looks at Ethan with equal parts love, fear, and determination. Kim Vio dramatized. Ethan, I need to know. Can we be together, knowing everything? Knowing what it could cost? Ethan takes a deep breath, his gaze unwavering. Ethan Vio dramatized. I've never been more certain about anything in my life. But I also know the pain it's caused Chloe, and that weighs on me every day. I can't undo the past, but I can try to be honest with both of you. Visual. Chloe arrives, standing a few feet away. She's composed, but her eyes glimmer with vulnerability. Chloe Vio dramatized. I won't pretend this doesn't hurt. But if you both truly care, maybe we can navigate this without destroying each other. Visual. A long, silent pause. Wind rustles their hair. The city hums below. The camera pans slowly around them, capturing the tension, the love, the fear. Narrator Vo. This was the crucible moment, where love, family loyalty, and trust collided. Decisions here weren't just about romance. They were about respect, boundaries, and the unspoken bond between sisters. And the choice they made reshaped their relationships forever. Visual. Kim steps forward, taking Ethan's hand. Then, she turns to Chloe, hugging her tightly. Chloe hesitates, then returns the embrace, tears streaming. Narrator Vo. It was an imperfect resolution. A compromise born of love, honesty, and the willingness to forgive. They weren't perfect. The scars would remain. But in that moment, the bonds of family and the courage to love openly became undeniable. Aftermath. Visual. Montage of headlines, social media posts, interviews. Fans debate. Some support Kim, some criticize, some admire the honesty. Narrator Vo. Once private, now public, the story rippled across the world. Some condemned, some celebrated, but all watched closely as the sisters navigated their new reality. Kim and Ethan's relationship continued, tempered by transparency. Chloe's trust was cautious but intact, strengthened by the honesty she demanded and received. Visual. Family dinner at the Kardashian mansion. Laughter echoes. The camera lingers on small glances, reassuring smiles, and subtle signs of healing. Narrator Vo. Life moved forward as it always does. The glamour of Hollywood didn't disappear, but the emotional lessons remained. Love, after all, is never without complication. And even the most public lives contain private struggles that teach resilience, understanding, and empathy. Reality check / deeper meaning. Visual. Kim alone, gazing at the Los Angeles skyline at night, reflective. Narrator Vo. This story isn't just about celebrity drama. It's a reminder that human emotions are universal. Even those with fame, fortune, and adoring fans face dilemmas of the heart, of loyalty, and of choice. Relationships are messy, love is unpredictable, and forgiveness is a strength, not a weakness. Visual. Chloe scrolling on her phone, smiling faintly, sending a message that reads, "We'll figure it out. Together." Narrator Vo. In a world obsessed with scandal, it's easy to forget the people behind the headlines. Kim, Chloe, and Ethan faced a deeply human struggle, navigating hurt, desire, and loyalty in a way that resonates far beyond Hollywood. Unforgettable ending. Visual. Wide shot of the three of them walking together on a quiet beach at dawn, the ocean waves glowing in pink and gold light. They walk silently, side by side, bonds intact but tested. Narrator Vo. And in the end, this story isn't about betrayal or gossip. It's about courage. The courage to follow your heart, the courage to confront the past, and the courage to protect the ones you love. Kim Kardashian's new love interest may have once dated her younger sister, but the story that unfolded is one of honesty, growth, and resilience. Visual. Fade to black. Soft music lingers. Text appears, Love is never simple, but honesty can heal even the deepest wounds. Narrator, Vo. No one could have predicted how this tangled web of hearts would resolve. But the lesson is clear. Even in the glittering, chaotic world of Hollywood, family and love endure when honesty guides the way. And sometimes, that's more powerful than any headline. End screen, dramatic pause. Music fades. Silence. Visual, Kim's bedroom. Sunlight streams through large windows. She's sitting on the edge of the bed, robe slightly undone, hair messy, phone in her hand. Coffee cup untouched on the nightstand. The house is quiet, except for the distant hum of traffic. Narrator, Vo. The morning after the text, Kim couldn't focus. Her eyes darted to her phone every few seconds. The message from Chloe replayed in her mind like a looping film reel. Are you serious? You're dating Kim. The words were simple, but the weight behind them was crushing. Visual, close-up on Kim's face. Eyebrows knitted, a subtle tremor in her lips. Kim thinking, Vo. How could this happen? I've always respected her, always made her my confidant. And now, I feel like I've crossed an invisible line. Is it selfish to want this? To want him? Visual, flashback to a late-night dinner with Chloe and friends 2 years ago. Ethan is charming, witty, flirting subtly with Chloe. Laughter, clinking glasses, intimacy building. Narrator, Vo. 2 years earlier, Ethan was Chloe's. It wasn't public, but it was serious enough that family members had noticed. Kim had observed them from a distance, feeling a mix of admiration and mild envy, not because she wanted Ethan, but because she valued loyalty and trust above all else. Visual, back to present. Kim sets the phone down, exhales deeply. She walks to the balcony, gazing at the Los Angeles skyline. Narrator, Vo. Now, standing at the precipice of a new chapter, Kim's mind was a battlefield. Every heartbeat carried desire, guilt, and the fear of betraying her sister. Hollywood had taught her to expect scrutiny, but nothing could prepare her for this personal storm. Visual, Kim receives another text, this time from Ethan. Can we talk tonight? There's something you need to know. Narrator, Vo. The message was simple, but it carried a tension that made her pulse quicken. Something he needed to tell her, but what? And would it make things easier or irreversibly more complicated? Scene 2, Chloe's perspective. Visual, Chloe's apartment. She's at the kitchen counter, phone in hand, pacing. Outside, the city is bustling, but inside, the air is heavy with uncertainty. Narrator, Vo. For Chloe, the text was more than a question. It was a mirror reflecting old wounds and fresh pain. She had trusted Ethan once, loved him even, and now, watching him laugh across the room at her sister, it was a betrayal that didn't feel accidental. Chloe thinking, Vo. Why him? Why now? Was this some cruel twist of fate? Or does he truly care about Kim? And what does that make me? Disposable. Visual, flashback to a private vacation with Ethan 2 years prior. Walking along a beach, hand in hand, laughing. A slow-motion moment of intimacy, shared secrets, whispered promises. Narrator, Vo. The memories were fresh, vivid, and painful. Every laugh shared with Ethan now felt like a ghost hovering over the present. Chloe had to decide, would she confront him directly or try to protect